LoreWarrior Extended BSW-X1 Bushwacker. Overview. The prototype Bushwacker was under construction at the start of the clan invasion. An ambitious, unorthodox design, the Bushwacker featured a long, narrow upper torso designed to present a minimal target profile to enemy units. This unconventional configuration resulted in an extremely complex interior layout, with the mech's fusion engine, sensors, and communication suites crowded together. Unfortunately, the engine shielding proved insufficient to insulate the sensors and communication suites from the engine's radiation, and the Bushwacker experienced frequent targeting and sensor system failure. Attempts to increase the engine shielding made the mech too heavy and cumbersome for battle use, and though the Bushwacker program seemed destined for cancellation, many observers praised the innovative design as a daring work of battle mech engineering. It was the clan invasion that saved the Bushwacker from the scrap pile. A raid on a Jade Falcon base on Twycross yielded a vast haul of technical specifications and schematics for various clan battlemechs. The Bushwacker design team were given the specs for the clan Vulture, and using these documents as a guide, the Bushwacker team were able to reconfigure the mech's interior spaces and eliminate the electronic interference. Capabilities. The Bushwacker is built with long-range combat in mind. Its two LRM launchers, along with its improved large laser and Mydron autocannon, give this mech the ability to reach out and touch someone. While against inner sphere opponents this weapons mix is quite lethal, clan opponents are a different matter. The clan weapon systems on average outrange their inner sphere counterparts by up to 50%, and engaging in long-range slugging duels with clan troops is suicide for any inner sphere mech, even one as well armed as the Bushwacker. To compensate for this disadvantage, Bushwacker units attempt to use terrain and natural obstacles to engage clan units at relatively close range. In a lance of Bushwackers, one member will serve the remaining 3 units as a spotter for indirect fire. Deployment. The Bushwacker was put into full-scale production in 3053, though many Federated Commonwealth units would receive pre-production models during the clan invasion. The Bushwacker commonly replaced units lost from medium mech lances on the clan border, and as a result, most of the Bushwackers in service belong to units of the Lyran Alliance, with only a handful still serving in the remainder of the Federated Commonwealth. 3058 Upgrade. Overview. While the Bushwacker employs no clan technology, its final design is the result of applied clan battlemech construction principle. Originally developed before the clan invasion, the mech's innovative design broke with mainstream thinking in several key areas, primarily in its low-slung, narrow aspect that eluded enemy targeting systems while providing space and strength for an impressive weapons payload. Unfortunately, this fundamental break with traditional design resulted in a complex and crowded internal structure. The fusion engine's close proximity to the sensor and communication suites generated internal interference, which caused frequent targeting and sensor system failures. Though evaluators were impressed with the basic design and its potential capabilities, these chronic and apparently insoluble electronic difficulties fairly guaranteed the Bushwacker would never see production. This dreary prognosis was reversed by a successful raid on a Jade Falcon base on Twycross, and among other discoveries was an extensive collection of technical specifications and schematic diagrams for a number of clan battlemechs. Of particular interest to the Bushwacker design team was the Vulture. Though a more vertical design than the Bushwacker, the Vulture's interiors would share the same compressed volume issues. To compensate, the clan engineers had made several unusual decisions in the internal layout which minimized the fusion engine's interference with sensitive systems. Adapting these solutions to the Bushwacker's unique needs, the design engineers were able to reconfigure the mech's internal structure to eliminate electronic interference. Capabilities. The Bushwacker is first and foremost a long-range combat battle mech. 2 LRM launchers, an ER large laser, and the excellent Mydron autocannon enable it to deliver lethal destructive power at ranges few inner-sphere battlemechs can match. In combating conventional opponents, the savvy Bushwacker pilot will keep her opponent at range, relying on the mech's relative nimbleness to avoid close combat. The paired Johnston miniguns mounted forward will provide some defense against infantry anti-mech assault teams. Of course, the range advantage evaporates when it engages clan forces, as clan long-range weapons will overreach the Bushwacker by around 50%, making trading fire with them problematic for inner sphere pilots. As a result, Bushwacker units have developed cooperative tactics which utilize terrain and other obstacles to close to effective range. A typical Lance team will have 3 Bushwackers with a fast light mech. The light mech will act as spotter, and if necessary, as a diversion, will direct the indirect LRM fire of the Bushwackers. Deployment. Though originally deployed almost exclusively along the Clan and Lyran Alliance border, the Bushwacker can now be found in almost every first echelon unit throughout the former Federated Commonwealth. For some reason, it's become a particular favourite of command throughout both the Capellan and Draconis marches. Variants. 2 variants have come into common usage. The S2 will trade the LRM-5 launchers and machine guns for 2 SRM-4s and an anti-missile system, while upgrading the autocannon to an LBX model. The L1 is a much more radical design, making use of the still relatively new technology of the light engine, in place of the extra light in the standard model. The design then trades a case and all the weaponry except the large laser, upgraded to an extended range model, for a single LB-20X autocannon and 3 tons of ammo, as well as an additional 2.5 ton of armour. The ferrofibrous was also exchanged for endo steel. Notable mech warriors. Captain Sarah Blair. On November 12, 3065, Hauptmann General Kev Evans ended several months of mobile defensive actions against the DCMS's Fifth Sword of Light and Ryuken-go on Cassius at the base of the Roman mountains. The centre of his defensive line was the Kalas Line, entrenched fortifications built by the local militia and units of the 3rd Crucis Lancers. Repulsed by the bunkers and concealed batteries, Taisa Shotoku led elements of the Ryuken-go on a flanking attack. The 17th Avalon Hussars 3rd Battalion was waiting for them, and when Major Chad Thomas fell in the opening minutes, Captain Blair assumed command, her able leadership enabling the outnumbered battalion to repeatedly throw back the Ryuken-go force. Gun cam recordings show Blair's Bushwacker trading fire with Shotoku's Hatamoto Chi, a duel that would be repeated on 31st of January 3066. Heavy DCMS losses at the Battle of Kalas changed the balance of power on Cassius, allowing the 17th to press the 5th Sword and Ryuken-go, inflicting heavy losses over the next several weeks. Facing ultimate defeat, Shotoku led 2 companies of volunteers in an all-out attack on the 17th, and though 3 Hussar battlemechs engaged the Hatamoto Chi, battle recordings confirm it was Captain Blair's coolly accurate alpha strikes at range that brought the Taisar down. DCMS forces yielded the planet on the 6th of February, 3066. Now, for clarification, yes, in the past I have already done a LoreWarrior video that used the MWO release of the Bushwacker, but that one I only used the original TRO 3058 write-up, was much shorter, whereas the upgrade version, which I didn't have a PDF of at the time, has honestly a much better and more in-depth write-up, and I thought I may as well cover both for an update version rather than just making one with the upgrade. It's interesting to see the slight changes in some of the write-up. It's not too big, but it's definitely more comprehensive. So, mass 55 ton, chassis is an Earthwork GRF, power plant is a Hermes 275 XL with a cruise speed of 54 and a max speed of 86 with no jump jets. Armour is the Calon Unity Weave Ferrofibrous with case. Armament is 2 Federated 5-shot LRM missile systems, 1 Blazefire Sweet Shot extended range large laser, and 1 Mydron Model B autocannon and 2 Johnston miniguns. Manufactured by Tharhes Industries, with primary factory on Tharcad. Communication system is the Tharhes Utrape HM14, and targeting and tracking system is the Tharhes Ares 8A. It has a walk of 5, a run of 8, with 22 heat dissipation from 11 heat sinks. It has 9 armour on the head, 26 on the CT with 8 on the rear, 22 on the side torsos with 4 on the rear, and 11 on the arms and 22 on the legs. Relatively low amounts of armour protection on the arms, which is surprising when you take into account that the AC-10 is on the right arm, and you've got one of the LRM-5s in the left arm. The rest of it is spread across the CT and the side torsos, but one of your biggest punches being on an 11 armour location with only 9 internal structure, that's pretty flimsy. And I don't think those numbers really change here either. Just having a quick look, nope, exactly the same. Now, one of the things I will bring up is that both write-ups will say that this mech is a narrow design, thin to hit, but they did not communicate this to Luce. Because, holy shit, the original artwork in the TRO is fucking horrific. The mech is squat and extremely wide. The perspective is all over the shop, and it makes zero sense. I have to say, although it's a detailed piece of artwork, it's probably one of the worst pieces of art he's ever produced for a battle mech, because it just doesn't look like a Bushwacker at all. Which is strange, because the cover of this book has a far superior looking Bushwacker that actually is the design art that was used, because whatever this is, it ain't the Bushwacker, as you can see now. It's just weird. It's so wide and squat, and it looks like a much heavier mech than it actually is. I mean, we're only talking about a 55 tonner here, but this artwork makes it look like a fucking 80 tonner. The thing is insanely big, and I don't know why there wasn't any communication between the two sides, where, like, if the art department was producing designs and they were writing stuff around it, or if the writers weren't submitting the finished article to the art team, so at least they had an idea, some kind of framework for what it was they were, drawing up. I don't know what the process was like, but by God, there was a miscommunication here, and it's really horrible as far as the art in the book goes. It does not do the poor Bushwacker any favours, especially for one of the mechs that's by far considered to be one of the most popular mechs in BattleTech. It's definitely one of my favourites. I love the design, and if you haven't checked it out in like the numerous games that have been around now for obviously decades, yeah, try it out. Play a Bushwacker. It's fun. But yeah, I'll leave you all with that one. Catch you all next time, and thanks for listening. Bye bye.